Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name's Brandon Wheeler. I got to storm off because I got heat injury thing happening here. I can't talk right while unless I bite down something. It sounds very stubborn things when I don't have stuff, so I have to like bite down kind of like to talk. Moving on. That's why. I'm an indie author and everything, and I'm also a Christian, if you don't know. The reason why I bring it up is because of the subject matter. I'm doing another book review. This is called A Brief Walk Through Christian History by Justin Gatlin. Um, I asked, my pastor at church and everything's like, do you know something about church history and everything like that? And he was like, yeah, sure, I got something. I know somebody who wrote something and everything like that. So I read through this. I actually finished it like a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to do a book review before I do another one. So here we go. Uh, I don't know what I'm looking for necessarily and stuff, but I was just like, all right, well, let me get in some church history and everything, and got that. It just talks about, after, the apostle period and everything up to like how the Roman, like different ideas about the Nicene Council and everything, like how the Roman Catholic Church started doing things, how it became more in power and everything, but covers, basically almost 2,000 years of history in one go to modern day and everything. So and today's issues and everything. Again, doesn't get real in depth about every single little thing because, like my pastor gave me a book briefly that had the history of like kind of like what, say, just on the Baptist kind of history. I think it's like the first of several volumes and it's like this thick. And I was like, oh, wow. But this covers the whole thing of church history and everything like that. And it's pretty good. Um, Talked about like Anabaptists and uh, all these different groups called like different groups. There's like, oh, they're not necessary thing and stuff, but how it like kind of affected certain how different movements, even though they didn't last long, how they kind of affected one thing after another and everything like that. So it was interesting and everything, but again, it's only about not including the language pages. It's like 150 pages if you want to check it out. So if you want a little brief history and everything and learn some like as a stepping stone to more in-depth stuff because it does get into some things then I recommend it. So that's an interesting little book. I just part of the reason I was trying to read for this, I don't think that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something else because of my writings and all that. Looking to like history and everything like that, it's just like, okay, I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm asking like, what? That's not what I'm looking. What am I looking for? I don't know what I'm looking for as far as like what I want to study and like history type thing or the church and everything like that. But getting into some church history though is still a nice little thing to do because you start looking into, how things came to be. So this is a good little book and everything for that. So, but as far as what else I'm going to read along this line and everything like that, I don't know yet. Because again, even though I do like a lot of fiction stuff on here, like I'm about to talk about a fiction book for my next book review right here. It doesn't mean I need to just read just fiction. If you are part of something and it's like, what, let me get into the history of things and stuff like that. And I like history stuff. I'm not a history nerd, more like a history buff, enthusiast type stuff with some things. But getting in depth to church history and everything like that. So kind of like how C.S. Lewis with his different writings and everything, which I do need to get to the other ones. So it's just kind of like, all right, this will just continue to go and add on to that idea. But I'm just asking the Lord, like, okay, what am I doing this for? But we'll see. Alrighty, well, I know it's short, brief, not really much anything else, but that is what a brief history, brief walk is all about. So, all right, so I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.